Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Long Pamay. In the last episode, we learned how to create custom ribbon for Excel using Visual Designer. In this episode, I'll be showing you in detail how to create a custom ribbon and also manipulate existing commands using XML. If you followed our Ribbon X series for VBA, it's going to be pretty much the same, or I would say even more simplified in Vsto. If you just need the ribbon with standard controls like buttons, drop down, edit box, or label, Visual Designer can take care of all this. However, if you want to repurpose built-in commands or define context menus, take care of the backstage, like menu bars and so on, you'll need a Ribbon XML. So it's much more powerful and advanced as compared to the Visual Designer. Before we begin, if you haven't, please do not forget to subscribe for latest updates and also to support my channel. So here's what we did in our prior episode. First, going to this add-in. For a quick recap, there's nothing we've done in that. This is just a blank form and then the user control. And so mainly the focus was on the ribbon design. So this is what we designed in our prior video. Let me quickly load it up. So it's much easier to refer to all these controls and then add elements and like design. It's much more simpler to do in the Visual Designer, but there are certain things that cannot be done using this Visual Designer. So XML part comes in again. We've done this in VBA, and if you haven't seen that, it is very useful video series. You should definitely check it out. Okay, so this is a label that is automatically assigned with the username and the application username and then the environment ID, and then the like just the label, again the version, and then this shows the task pane, shows the win form. This is example of combo box and a drop down, and then whatever you select is printed out here, and then this is edit box that automatically recalculates the total, for example, and this is example of checkbox. Okay, so we'll try to do this similar thing in the XML. Now you can straight away export this into Ribbon and then start doing it here as well. We'll put it in the different projects so that it's easier to follow. For now, let me just export this XML. You'll see XML automatically generated. So even though this has been generated at the moment, you'll see these are the steps that we need to follow to be able to implement this. If I load this up now, it's going to be still the same. So here, okay, so it still works, everything's the same. Okay, now if you look here, here's our XML that was exported. This is the XML from this designer, Ribbon Design, this one, and then this is where the code goes. Okay, now as per the instruction here, we need to add this in the like add-in or workbook load events or document, and then that is how it's going to take effect. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take a backup of this XML so that we can reuse this easily. I'm going to first close this solution. We'll start a new project. Again, we'll create a add-in. Let's call this add-in XML or something. So if you did not follow the prior video, let me do this. Add-in Excel add-in. Okay, so we'll use this one, this template, and let's call this Excel add-in and then XML ribbon, something like that. And then I'm gonna place this in the YouTube directory, and I'm gonna leave the framework as it is. Okay, so again, this is just a template. It does not contain anything at the moment. Now I'm gonna go and add the component. Just give me a moment. So in our last video, we added this component. Now we'll add this Ribbon XML. I'll just leave the name as it is. Okay, so this is the same one that was auto-generated earlier when we were doing this. Okay, and then here is the XML. Okay, this is just like some code are there which we can utilize. Now what it says here is copy the following this and paste it there. We'll do that, and then here all these are place where we are gonna put our callback. For example, this is where we'll be putting all our callbacks. I'm just gonna leave this part as it is. Okay, so first I'm gonna copy this, go to this add-in. If you're designing if your project is workbook level or document level, you paste it here in that this workbook or this document. So we are here now, so I'm gonna uncomment this. Okay, so in the prior project, if you want to use the XML, then this is where you paste, and then automatically it will, instead of picking up the visual designer ribbon that you've done, it's going to pick up the XML from the XML file. Okay, so if I load this up now, we have not done any customization, so we should not see any tab, or rather we will install the prior add-in, uninstall, sorry. So this is from the prior one. I'm now gonna maybe just take a snippet so that we can easily refer to it. I'm gonna uninstall this for now. So this is a new add-in that we just created. Okay, so now there's no ribbon. Now coming back here, let's go and start putting the. Okay, so this is again, we've gone through this. This is the code that's gonna run on load, and then this is the namespace schema, and okay, we'll go one by one, and then it should not be difficult. Add-in step, my group. Okay, there must be a group in my add-in step. Let's just quickly load this again. Okay, there's none. Let's leave it. Let's copy this group first, or so see the tag ends here and it begins here. Okay, and this one is ending here itself. It starts and ends here. So this is of no use for us. Maybe we'll just copy it from here till here. So if we load this up now, it will show, but it's gonna error. Let's call this XML. This is the label for that new tab, and then these are all the labels. Control F5 to open without debugging. So here's a ribbon, and then all of them seems to be there. It's gonna give an error because there's no callback. Okay, so to dynamically, let's first assign a label on load, and then we can perhaps reuse the same code so that we don't have to rewrite everything. Okay, so opening this, maybe we can reuse some of this. Instead of this static label 1, 2, and 3, we'll assign this dynamically. Again, this is case sensitive, so get label. This is for a callback, or you can say for event. Get label. Okay, so on get label we will assign the code that we want to run here. Okay, so let's call this oops, sorry, get label. I'll just put a name like this. Okay, and going to ribbon here, this is where all the callbacks, so starts here and then ends here. Okay, so we'll assign and all this needs to be public. Okay. If you use, remember, well, we're doing for VBA, if we use this custom UI, you can automatically generate the callback signatures, like the syntax, but here it's we'll have to do this. Okay, the name is going to be this, and then by, well, let's see, this can be like a control, variable control as this. Okay, so in Excel, when we do VBA, we just need to assign it like this, but here we need to assign in full syntax like this, and then we can say this is equal to, just write hello for now, like this, or we can just make this to function. It will return the string and return hello. Irrespective of the control, it will return hello now. Just try it first. So if there's any error, it will be highlighted here as well, even in the XML, so it's much better than the one that we used earlier. Signature mismatch. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, it's my bad. This is supposed to be the control. Like this. Okay, so hello, hello, hello. So based on the control ID, we can assign the label now. For this, we can use select case and .id. This control whatever is at that point of time. Okay, so case, so the name here, oops, sorry, the name here is label 1. So first one will be case is this, case 2 and 3, case else, it will return nothing, and let's get rid of this. So in the label 1, we want to return hello and the username, so we can reuse this code that we use in another one. Here return, if this control ID on runtime, when it's refreshing is label 1, then we want to return this. Okay, and then if it is the second label, we want to return this, and then the version info. Here it's gonna be return this. Okay, so let's give it a shot. So now here it returned dynamically. Okay, this is how you can assign the labels using. Now we can go ahead with the next one. Again, this is just loading the components, so this is actually fine. You can actually do it yourself, or let me, if there's anyone who didn't follow the prior series episode, it's gonna make it small. Sort of put it to center screen, and then let's put a label. Let's call this WinForm and then we'll just add a task pane as well. Oops, let's give it 1 second. Just control, and I'll just leave the name as it is again, and this is gonna be our task pane. Text or label. Okay, and now this is for the going back to our XML. Let's close all this. Okay, button is there. Let's call this show task pane, and then show user form. So this will be the name of the code that is going to run, and this is a label. And then if you want to assign the image, it's pretty much the same. You can just follow the one that we did earlier in Ribbon X. Okay, for the callback, we'll just reuse this code. I'll just use sub for this. And we can say if this dot id is equal to this, then so based on the id we can call the different codes, or we can just create two codes. That will be simpler. Now let's just copy the code again instead of rewriting everything. I'm just gonna copy this to the top. Okay, the font must be a bit smaller. Let me make it bigger. And then where's the dustbin? Okay, so this one. Dun. Just put a different title. Okay, let me just leave it as this. And let's do the same for the user form. If you missed the prior episode, just watch for all this. Okay, loading it up again. Okay, there's 3 errors. Let's fix that first. Oops. What is this? Looks like we're good, but let me quickly check it just in case. Okay, this is not required because this is a sub. I just need to import okay, let's load again. Okay, this is the task pane we just created, and this is the win form. Okay, so now let's take care of these dynamic drop downs. So this we have done this label dynamically, and then these are 2 buttons that launches the task pane and the user form. In this group we'll take care of 2 examples. One will be dynamic menu, and then one will be static drop down. Okay, let's call this drop down. And we've gone through this example in our Ribbon X series. Again, there are all these resources are there. Anytime you don't find anything, some of the links in the video description could be broken, so you can directly search from here as well. Okay. Okay, so how I got here is from this particular link, and once you go here, you'll see here's a sample for the drop down. Similarly, there will be sample for all of them. Now going back to our XML, here, for this drop down, I think we can use this. For now, we can just get rid of this line. So these are item 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's put item, let's say London. Let's call this as city, something like this. The label and the ID, I'm just gonna put it same, maybe New York. Oops, I'll just make it bigger. Okay, this cannot be blank, the ID. And next is gonna be maybe Delhi. And then we can even have a button here if you want. We'll just leave this as maybe Budapest, something like this. Okay, and if you want action, you can assign it here. So maybe here on action. Let's call this location, something like this. That will be the name of the code. Now let's take care of the callback as well. I'm just gonna close this for now. Even this we don't need it at the moment. Okay, so let's take care of this callback. I believe just location. On action is gonna call location code, and here we can add a couple of things more, maybe like variable text as string. And again, this callback signature cannot be modified. It has to be exactly how it is already specified. These are the only parameters that can go in here, and then maybe like index as integer. Okay, so here we can return a message box. Maybe just variable text and then index. Okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, it took longer to load up. Okay, so the city, this is the button, and then here's London, the index is 0, New York, Delhi, and Budapest. We didn't put a button for that, so let's try that quickly. So again, if you're already familiar with this, you can, you know, like fast forward this. So button here, we use this. So for this button as well, we can do this thing for Budapest. The label is this, and then on action, we can call this code. Okay, so this is working. So based on the selection of the user or Element, you can run specific code within the add-in to do certain tasks in the current workbook, for example, or maybe pull in something from based on these parameters or criteria. You can pull in something from external, like sources. Okay, I'm gonna close this, and now we will talk a little bit more on how to construct this dynamic menu. Now let's try the dynamic menu. These are combo box, but instead of that, we'll try the dynamic menu. So quickly going back to our Ribbon X episode for VBA. Just quickly give you a demo. So this is a dynamic menu that we constructed that is on runtime. Okay, and if I go to the code, yeah, this is the one that runs. This is basically all string as a demonstration, so we can reuse the callback as well as this. And the example is also here, by the way, in this in the same page. Okay, dynamic menu, and as you scroll down, get content is what we want to use, and this is example line. So going back here, instead of this combo box, we're gonna have the dynamic menu. Get this content, we'll just leave it as it is. Label is already there, maybe. Yeah, I'll just leave this as it is. Okay, you can assign more properties. You can set image, you can assign the size, normal, large, and all this. And then let me go back here and copy this signature. Again, remember this should be public, and this, let me just copy this, and then we'll try to get something dynamic from the current sheet workbook. Let's make this the function because we want to return something. And this get content menu should be the name of the code, and we need to prefix this. Okay, for now I'm gonna leave this as it is, and then we want to return XML. Okay, first let's try this. Control F5. So this is our dynamic menu. Callback signature mismatch. Okay, let me recheck this. So looks like the signature is not same. Let me just leave it like this. Again, no load image already. Okay, we have assigned the image in the source here, and this was done using our custom UI editor, and we've already set the image. So if we want to use the custom image, then that's we have to approach differently. Okay, I don't think we need to even open that. I can directly change this MSO. Let me change all this graph. Let me change all this to, let me quickly replace this. Similarly with this. This button ID as well need to be all unique, otherwise it's gonna give an error. try one more time. Okay, so all these are set to smiley, but you get an idea. Okay, so now we can loop through whatever, like the current workbook is. If there are more sheets, it will list the name of the sheets here. Okay, let's try that. Let me go ahead and delete all of them, all these lines to somewhere here. We'll make this part, we'll loop through the sheets and then we'll assign a value here. So let's start off for, let's call this sh as excel.worksheet. In this items dot sorry, let's start from globals. This item dot application dot worksheets, and we'll bring in here like this. So the button ID can be the sheet name. Oh, sorry. So remember this single quote widgets here. And then I'll set the label as well. This I'm gonna leave this as it is, and we can also put on action. Oops. Go here and on action. So the order does not matter. It's case sensitive though, just remember that. And let's call this dynamic item. This is gonna be the code that will run. We'll take care of the signature in a bit. And then here we need to invalidate the controls, otherwise it's not gonna refresh this. No, I'll just leave it as it is. Let's see if it is working. First I'm gonna add multiple sheets, and unable to cast. Okay, just give me a moment. I think it's just here. This is not in return a string. If this doesn't work, we can try to make a variable. Okay, let me specifically so button name, the syntax seems to be okay. Looks like some assembly is missing. Let's import some more. We'll import Office Interlope and maybe specific to Excel. Let's say Excel equal to Microsoft Interlope, and this is gonna be Okay, because it doesn't seem to understand at the moment. I'm gonna start up again. I'm not using the error handlers now, so that we can directly. Okay, it looks like it's working now. More sheets. Okay. Sheet 4. Sheet 1. 5. Okay. Now, upon selection, we can activate the sheets as well. Maybe we can try with a new workbook. So book 2, book 1. So here we have only one sheet. Okay. Button 1 is static. Okay, so these are all dynamic. For the image MSO, you already know where to find it. In the same link, you'll find a table as well as a visual, menu which you can see, gallery, where you can choose the image. Okay, so let's quickly take care of this on action dynamic item. Here, whatever is chosen, we can we'll try different method here. Whatever control was selected, this is basically going to return the name of the sheet. And for the first button, it's going to call, here we don't have action button, so it's not going to do anything even if user clicks on it. Call demo button, no action. And for this one, it's going to call this one, and which is this. So we'll try to use maybe we'll try with a simpler approach first. Globals. Active. We don't want to select the active sheet. Active workbook. Sheets, and maybe this. Let's see if this works. Type mismatch. Now let's try another approach. Let's try to hook the workbook using get Vsto object method, and we'll see if that works. Let's call team native workbook as a Excel workbook. Okay, let's try this once. Okay, this method seems to be working. 3, 2, 6. Okay, let's try with the new workbook as well. Sheet 8. Okay. Now let's move on to edit box, and then the checkbox should be simple after that. And after that, I'll also show you some example on contextual tabs. Okay, and then maybe we can try some more examples after that. Okay, so going back here, this edit box 1, 2, and this is 3 to show the total. Here, one thing to note here is like you must have seen by now that we cannot directly refer to these controls. So we have to create our own objects, or you can do through members or through a property that you can create. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that now. Here on change this, okay, we can reuse this, and then we'll use one more callback. Let's call this get text. This would be always small letter. Oops. Okay, this will be edit box get text. We don't need on change for this. So as soon as these two values changes, we want to calculate the total as well. So that's why we have on change event here, callback, and then we don't need it for the total. Okay. Let's load this up first and see. That is because of the okay, there's some error in this. Okay, no issues. So small things can cause big problems. Okay, this is because we have not generated the callback yet. So these are the 3 ones. Okay. So when we change the value here and here or here, we want to calculate the total. Maybe we can also add one more button here to also manually calculate. Maybe we can add one more button here. Or not. Maybe we'll just put it here. This will be calculate total. Let's quickly generate the callback for this one. We'll assign the calculation in a bit, and let's create 3 members first up here. Private. Let's call this double number 1 as double. You can also set a number here if you want something like this. If you want to have a default number, which can be altered again, for now let's leave it as this, like this. You can also assign all these values on startup here. Okay, now let's create first let's create a callback. This one is called get text. On change and get text, this one. And here it has to be double, and based on what control it's returned here, it's gonna assign a value here like we did earlier. So for this we have controls edit box 1, 2, and 3. So if it is edit box 1 or 2 or 3, So this is where we're gonna assign these members that we just created now. Whatever values gets written there is gonna be displayed here in the text box. Okay, so we'll set the edit box to will be returned from this, and then from the third one here, like that. And then let's quickly take care of this cannot be string, so maybe we can just assign. So for the change, this is called edit box text change. Let's just recopy this. And here there is one more parameter. This will be by value. This name can be anything actually, but the parameters can be these two only. Okay, and here instead of return we'll say this is equal to this, whatever value is returned here. Else nothing. Okay, so whenever any value gets changed in that text box, in the edit box, this particular member or this variable will be updated with the value that is entered in that edit box. Okay, at that same time these values are going to be stored here, and then when the text is here, then we want to it will automatically read from that member. And here we can also automatically set the value for this. This plus this, so 2 and 1. Now this is gonna error if the value is in text, so you can put the handler yourself, and then again we have to invalidate. There's a miss there. That's a bit 3. Okay, now let's start it up. So the default value that was set here is being read, and then the change seems to be working. Okay, now we can take care of the total as well. So when the just give me 1 second. When this total is being clicked, calculate total code is gonna run this code. Instead of message box, we can have this. For now, I'm gonna disable the automatic recalculation part here. So this is how you're gonna read and write to the value. Okay, my window is open. So 22, 24. Okay, on change has been disabled, and then I mean the value has been returned to the variable, but it's not automatically calculated here. So this button is supposed to do that now. So this is how you can read the value and then write to the control. Okay. Okay, now we can move forward to quickly to the checkbox. Checkbox. Okay, so here's our checkbox. Toggle button. We'll use a similar. When the button is pressed, we will generate a code. So let's set 2 things. First will be, maybe we can also set on action. Oh, okay, it automatically inserts those. Checkbox click, something like this. and then get pressed. Here we can say checkbox. This will be the name of the callback. Checkbox pressed, and we will just replicate this. One will suffice, but just, yeah, maybe we'll just get rid of this because the idea is same. We don't have to rewrite multiple conditions. So on action, and then get pressed. Now let's get the callback for this too. Somewhere here. So here we will set the same thing. Let's call this control is going to be the control, and here by value, which we don't have to pressed as boolean. Here we'll declare one more variable. Let's call this maybe check status, something like that, and it's gonna be boolean, true or false. And here it's equal to this, so this will update this value, and then get press can that will return whatever is pressed. Again, I'm just gonna take this, and then this. For this one, we can just say return. It will return this. Okay. We can also write in this fashion. If we want to read, we will need to have a button to be able to get the status of that. So maybe we can just have one more button here. So sorry, this is going to be the label. This button can be 5. So if you see underlined, there is some problem. If this is true, it is checked, and then it is not checked. Okay, let's try. So it is checked, it is not checked. Okay, so this is how you can read, and you can set the value. I mean, yeah, you can update the memory variable as well. Okay, that will be for the checkbox. Now I'll just quickly demonstrate one last thing for contextual tabs. Like when you click on a pivot or when you click on the chart, only then those tabs are gonna show up, like the normal Excel tabs, from where you can, you know, like add additional controls which can perform certain utilities for those you know, features within Excel or other products. Okay, so going back to XML, for this, I'm just gonna use the one we set up earlier. So in this series, I think, I don't remember exactly which episode was that. Okay, this quad. For quad, we have to set start from scratch option to true. Okay, this is the contextual app. I'll just quickly give a demo. So once you select this and then see, when you are outside in a normal cell, you don't see those tab, but when you activate the chart, you see chart utilities tab, and then you can add certain controls. Similarly, for pivot table, you click on pivot, only then you will be able to see the pivot utilities. Okay, it's not here in this one, but the idea is that. Okay, so let's quickly get the XML for that. Well, we don't have to retype this. Okay, so this contextual tab till here, and then this for pivot utilities and this for chart. So let's start off with one of them. Once you can do one, then it's the same actually. So going back to our XML. So here this contextual tab is right under ribbon. So I'm gonna go back here. Before this tab, XML tag, I'm gonna insert this and then do it here. Okay, now let me get rid of this pivot utilities and okay, that's our neighbor. Just gonna hide this. So this will be called chart utilities. Button 5 exists, so I'm gonna change it to 5 and 6. This is the label, this is the action. Maybe we can call this change chart type, something like that. This is just a demonstration again, and then change color definition, something. And the code 1 and 2 is gonna run, and this is gonna be the image that will show up. Okay, so we can go ahead and just give it a shot. Maybe we can just assign to run this code when this runs. That group 1 is giving an error. Let's just change it to group 1x. So if you are in a normal cell, this is not going to show up. So let me just quickly generate a data. And let me add a chart. So here you can see chart utilities pop up. And once you go here, you'll be able to see change color definition. This is going to be like check. It's not checked because we are calling this code. Now it's gonna say it is checked. Okay, so this is how you can add contextual tabs. And if you go to the blog, there will be a list of all the contextual tabs that you can add in this similar fashion. You're gonna add, and then you already know about this group, how to group, add a group, and then within the group we are adding 2 buttons. So the more groups. So before we wind up, let's quickly take a look. These are groups, and these are the name of the group. The group ID. So for example, this is the name of the tab itself, the label, and the ID that has to all be unique. All these control IDs has to be unique. Label 1, 2, 3. This is the code, the callback that is going to happen to get the labels automatically. Group 2, that is more controls, and then here. So similarly, you know, like this dynamic menu for the drop down, which is static, and then this dynamic menu. This for edit box. Again, all these examples or very close examples will be there in the blog as well. You can check it out from there. And if you have any questions, comment below. For now, I'm gonna stop this video here. I hope you found it useful and informative. If so, do not forget to leave a like and also share with your friends and colleagues so that we can do more videos with your support. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day ahead. Bye bye.